Have you ever wondered why some people seem trapped in constant stress while others appear calm, purposeful, or deeply fulfilled? Why do humans obsess over money, status, relationships, achievement, meaning, and eventually something beyond all of those things? What if consciousness itself develops in stages, and your entire experience of reality depends on where you currently operate? Today, we're exploring every major level of consciousness, from basic survival instincts all the way to enlightenment. Not as mystical fantasy, but as a map of human development. Let's begin at the bottom. 1. Survival consciousness. Imagine being dropped alone into the wilderness. No food, no shelter, no certainty about tomorrow. In that situation, your consciousness narrows dramatically. You stop thinking about purpose. You stop thinking about philosophy. You stop thinking about your 5-year plan. Your mind becomes obsessed with one thing: stay alive. This is survival consciousness. This is the oldest operating system in the human brain. When survival consciousness dominates, people often live in chronic stress. The nervous system constantly scans for threats. Questions become simple. Am I safe? Will I survive? Do I have enough? People stuck here may struggle to think long-term because the brain prioritizes immediate security over future possibilities. 2. Security and stability. Consciousness. Once basic survival is handled, humans begin seeking order, predictability, routine, structure. This level asks, how do I create stability? This is where jobs, homes, savings accounts, schedules, institutions, and social rules become extremely important. At this stage, people often value certainty over freedom. Many societies are largely organized around this level because stable systems create functioning civilizations. But stability creates a strange problem. After enough comfort, routine starts feeling like a cage. That's when consciousness moves again. 3. Social consciousness. Humans are social creatures. We want belonging almost as much as survival. At this level, consciousness shifts from, how do I survive? To, how do I fit in? Identity becomes deeply connected to groups, family, religion, nationality, friend groups, communities. People begin shaping themselves according to social expectations. Approval becomes powerful. Rejection becomes painful. This is why social exclusion can feel physically threatening. Your brain interprets exclusion almost like danger. Social consciousness creates cooperation, culture, and community. 4. Achievement consciousness. This is the level of ambition, goals, competition, success, recognition. At this stage, consciousness becomes highly individual. People begin measuring life through accomplishment. More money, more status, more influence, more results. Achievement consciousness built cities, businesses, inventions, and technological revolutions. It creates extraordinary productivity. But it comes with a hidden cost, because achievement creates an endless treadmill. Every milestone quickly becomes normal. Every victory creates another target. 5. Self-awareness consciousness. This is where consciousness turns inward. Instead of asking, how do I win? You ask, who am I? People at this level begin questioning inherited beliefs. Why do I think this way? Why do I react like this? Why do certain patterns repeat? Self-awareness introduces introspection, therapy, journaling, meditation, reflection, personal growth. For the first time, you stop seeing thoughts as reality. You begin observing them, and this creates distance. Distance creates freedom. You notice you are not every emotion, you are not every fear, you are not every impulse. But self-awareness has dangers too. Overthinking, analysis paralysis. 6. Empathy and compassion. Consciousness. As awareness expands, something surprising happens. Your identity starts becoming less rigid. The boundary between me and others softens. Compassion grows naturally. At this stage, people begin understanding interconnectedness. They recognize other people suffer too. Everyone carries invisible struggles. Human behavior often comes from pain, conditioning, and fear. Compassion consciousness doesn't mean weakness. It means seeing complexity. People operating here often prioritize service, relationships, community well-being, emotional intelligence, contribution. This level creates healers, mentors, teachers, caregivers, and leaders who elevate others. But compassion alone isn't enough, because caring deeply can become overwhelming. Many people eventually seek something deeper than emotion itself. That's where consciousness becomes transformational. 7. Purpose consciousness. At this level, life stops being random. People begin organizing existence around meaning. Purpose consciousness asks, what am I here to contribute? Work becomes more than income. Relationships become more intentional. Time becomes more precious. People often describe this stage as alignment. Their actions match their values. Research consistently shows humans tolerate hardship better when they understand why they endure it. You can become attached to identity, attached to mission. 8. Transcendent consciousness. This is where things become difficult to describe, because language itself becomes limited. Transcendent consciousness involves experiences where identity temporarily dissolves. People describe profound peace, unity, timelessness, deep connection. Meditation practitioners describe it. Mystics describe it. People during peak experiences describe it. Even athletes sometimes experience versions of it during flow states. 9. Enlightenment consciousness. This word is heavily misunderstood. Many imagine enlightenment as permanent bliss, constant happiness, superhuman perfection. Most traditions describe enlightenment less as acquiring something new, and more as removing illusions. Illusions about self, separation, control, attachment. At this stage, awareness itself becomes central. Experience happens, thoughts appear, emotions arise, but identification with them weakens dramatically. People often describe enlightenment as profound presence, not escaping life, being fully inside it, without resistance, without constant psychological struggle. Why most people move up and down these levels. Here's something crucial. Consciousness is not a staircase. It's dynamic. You can meditate in the morning and enter survival mode after one stressful phone call. You can feel enlightened during vacation and become obsessed with status next week. Humans move between levels constantly. The biggest traps at every level. Every stage offers growth. Every stage also creates traps. Survival consciousness traps you in fear. Security consciousness traps you in comfort. Social consciousness traps you in approval. Achievement consciousness traps you in endless striving. Self-awareness traps you in over-analysis. Even spirituality can become another status game. How do you actually raise consciousness? People often ask, how do I move upward? There isn't one universal path, but certain practices consistently appear. First, create stability. Growth becomes difficult when survival needs dominate. Second, practice observation. Notice thoughts without immediately believing them. Third, seek discomfort strategically. Growth rarely happens inside permanent comfort. Fourth, develop reflection habits, journaling, meditation, long walks, deep conversations. Fifth, serve others. Nothing expands perspective faster than moving beyond yourself. A simple test. Where are you right now? Ask yourself, what occupies most of my mental energy? If your thoughts revolve around safety, survival may dominate. If you constantly seek validation, social consciousness may lead. Final thoughts. Human consciousness may be one of the strangest things in the universe. We are creatures capable of worrying about rent in the morning and questioning existence at night. These levels aren't separate worlds, they're dimensions of being human. And maybe the real journey isn't escaping lower levels, because consciousness isn't a destination, and the level you operate from today shapes the reality you experience tomorrow. So ask yourself, what level has been running your life lately? And where do you want to go next?